Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience here in the South at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com. We're glad you all could be with us. Also, those joining us through iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcasts, we're glad you all could be with us as well. I'm excited to welcome Michael Rainin to our program today. He's someone who's made a name for himself as an actor in front of the camera, but also as a producer and director as well. He is also the individual behind what the Los Angeles Tribune is calling the upcoming documentary you need to see called RunRavenRun. We'll talk to Michael not only about that, but also remind you guys how you can stay connected for updates as well. Michael, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Cyrus.
Okay, the pleasure's definitely all mine. Well, an exciting 2021 you've been able to kick off here because, as I said, you know, people are already buzzing about this upcoming documentary. What has it been like for you, Michael, to be able to do work that you love and to have that work being recognized?
It's amazing. You know, it's been a long journey and not always the easiest, but I think that that it's important to do what you love and follow your gut instinct, and so that's what I've been doing.
Right. And I think that is the interesting thing as a creative, Michael. I mentioned to you that I was going to be referencing that great article that was in the Los Angeles Tribune because I think the thing that you mentioned in there that really stood out to me is great advice for all creatives, and that is just to create, not to wait on other people to kind of give you the green light. Have you always known, though, that entertaining in some form or fashion, Michael, was something that you wanted to do?
Yeah, you know, at an early age, my folks, watching Saturday Night Live every weekend with them and watching all the great films, you know, Trading Places, 48 Hours, Stripes, all these great comedies, Indiana Jones, all this, that it gave me a love of films and filmmaking at an early age. And I think storytelling and history and learning your history and learning other cultures' history is so important for your own knowledge and so that we don't repeat history. So stories and storytelling has been a big part of my life. You know, I was a major in history in university, and I think that us as humans and humanity, you know, without stories, we don't really have an identity.
Right. I think that's a really good point. And I think the fact that you've been able to work, as I mentioned, in front of the camera and now, of course, behind the camera as a producer and director and a writer, you've been able to see all elements of it. You know, is that something, though, that seemed inevitable for you? I mean, you mentioned, you know, some of the programs that you watched growing up, Michael. I mean, is that something that seemed inevitable that you would go from wanting to be a part of those to actually creating those?
Yes, definitely, and mainly behind the camera. I've acted in just a couple little small things, and I my real true passion is behind the camera and worked in several departments. And I think to become a good filmmaker, producer, or director, or writer, you really need to work in a lot of different departments, you know, and work your way up. So in the props department, in the script department, in the production department. And then you can really know how the whole machine works and be as efficient and have the best time as possible.
Yeah, and then be able to work with some amazing people to help you bring the vision to life. So take us into the documentary RunRavenRun. Michael, what was it about this story and the history that made you want to be able to tell the story in a documentary?
Well, I think that the Roma culture, Romani people that originally came from Rajasthan in India back around 1000 AD, some say they were persecuted by Muslim invading armies. No one really knows the exact reason, but they fled north out of Rajasthan, India, up into the Anatolian Peninsula, then up into Europe, into North Africa, into Asia and Russia. But not a lot is known about them, and not a lot of films have been done on them. Amir Kusturica a Yugoslavian Serbian director made a film called Time of Gypsies, another one Black Cat, White Cat, another Underground. These films are some of my favorite films ever made, and they gave me a taste of what the Roma culture and the Romani people, it represented them. And I was so interested, and I collected photo books by there's not many books out there on the Roma people, on gypsies. One, Joseph Kudelka in 1960 had a book, but it was only about 18 pages long, not that many photographs. The photographs that are there are amazing, some of the best I've ever seen. And it gives you a little glimpse into Romani life. So, when I was thinking about what to do, and I'd come out of a long illness, about a 7-year illness, so I had to take a break from Hollywood for a while. And when I came back, I wanted to do my passion project, and this really was it. Yeah. I've collected photo books of gypsies since I was younger, and I have a French wife. Every time we go to Europe in the summer, I would see Roma people all over, and people would be talking really badly about them, mainly, and I didn't like that, and so I'd like to show an aspect of Romani culture and life that is a real positive, beautiful thing, and that's the music that they create.
Yeah. And that was the point that also stood out to me when I was prepping for this segment, Michael, and I appreciate you sharing some of that backstory there. And that is because I think when we think about music, we normally think of it as an accompaniment either to a storyline. But it seems like with Run, Raven, Run, and I'll let you speak more to this, it seems like it really is a part of the storyline, that is a part of the history. Is that also what you found?
Yes, definitely. There's when they originally, left India, the Roma, they had clans of music. One clan was the musicians. Another clan were the gold diggers. Another clan were the metal workers. And these different clans, they disperse throughout the world now, but you can still see the roots of the Latori, which is in Romania, the musical clan of Roma or Gypsy. If you could ask the question again, sorry.
Oh yeah, sure. No, yeah, I was just asking. When for you, did it seem like the music was a part of the story instead of being an accompaniment to the story? The music was interwoven into the story that you wanted to tell.
Yeah. I'm sorry about that, Cyrus. Yes,
it's fine.
Music's so important. It's handed down from generation to generation, and is the way that they make their living. Some of the musicians in our films would work 200 days a year on the road doing weddings, and these weddings would last for 3 days, and they wouldn't sleep for 3 days. They would be playing music almost nonstop. And I mean, some of the hardest working musicians I've ever seen or heard stories about in my life. And it was a way to make a living. It brought food on the table, and they're very, very proud of their music and of their instruments. And that's one of the reasons this handing down, from generation to generation, that Michael Madsen was interested in doing the narration. Once he saw a rough cut, he immediately related to the story because he has 5 sons, and one of the main themes of our film, Run, Raven, Run, is the handing down of traditions from father to son. It is a very patriarchal society, the Roma culture in Romania, and so the fathers hand down instruments and the knowledge of that instrument to their sons. Daughters are allowed to be singers or homemakers, but that's slowly changing. So one of the characters in our film, Romeo, of the band Romeo Gypsy in Bucharest, his daughter is studying to be a lawyer to fight for Roma rights in Romania, Gypsy rights. So it's starting to change, but those old ways of the patriarchy is still there.
You said something that was interesting. I want to briefly touch back on and it kind of ties into what we were talking about earlier, Michael, about the power of being a creative. And you mentioned about the way that people talked about the people, and you didn't like it. And here was your way in Run, Raven, Run to be able to change that narrative, to rewrite that narrative. Is that one of the great things that fulfills you as a creator and storyteller through film, that you're able to do that you're able to tell the real story that you want to tell?
Definitely. I mean, I think documentary films, one of the reasons I love them so much is their power to create change in the world, and positive change. It almost seems like these days the only people that can actually make effective change are either class action attorneys or documentary filmmakers. And I hope that my film does make some, a bit of a positive change in regards to the way people think about gypsies or Roma or Romani people, and their acceptance of them. And I hope that people do take keep an open mind and watch the film and see and make up their own decisions.
Yeah, I think that's it, and I think that is the cool thing about what you're able to do, and that is to be able to tell these stories and to share them with the rest of the world. Again, everyone, Michael Rainin has been our guest. He's someone who's been able to tell stories now as a writer, producer, and director. We're talking to him about the documentary film Run, Raven, Run. I want you guys to make sure you guys are following the film Run, Raven, Run on IMDb. There you can stay connected for all of the updates. As you'll see if you go there now, it says it's in production. So definitely make sure you guys are adding it to your watch list so that you'll be updated as updates are made about the release of the film. And, Michael, really appreciate you stopping by the program today. It really means a lot.
Yeah, Cyrus, thank you so much. And just an interesting note, there's a lot of parallels between the African-American experience in the U.S. and the gypsy experience in Romania, because they were enslaved in Romania for 800 years, and slavery was abolished about 10 years before African-American, slavery was abolished in the United States. And there's a lot of parallels in the film in regarding the two cultures. So
I wasn't sure if you wanted to mention that or not, but I did think that was interesting when I was prepping for this, to think about the lines of what you're talking about when it comes to slavery, also the issues of poverty that we see even in the States. A lot of interesting things I think will be great conversation pieces. So, Michael, I'm excited about seeing the film, and I hope once it releases, I hope you'll come back again.
Yeah, I look forward to that, and thanks for having me today, Cyrus.
Glad to do it. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Now let's go make today amazing. Take care.